This is Trigger's first day in training, and if you'll notice, he's going in a hollow frame, which means his back is hollowed out. He's not driving from behind. He's pacing. He's not respecting the bit. He's just going along, throwing his weight from left to right, in a typical lazy horse fashion. He was ridden by children for many years, and they just let him do whatever he wanted to do, which 99% of the time was pace. When a horse is in a hollow frame, their head is higher than normal, their nose is stuck way out, their back is hollow. And when the back is hollow, it puts the hips at such an angle that they can't drive up under themselves and use their hindquarters as the engine as they should. Let's take a look at this pace a little closer. When a horse paces, they throw their weight from the left side to the right side with the feet striking the ground at the same time. So they throw their weight left, they throw their weight to the right. They don't engage their hindquarters. They don't push from behind. They don't work. This is a very lazy gait, and most horses that don't have a physical problem sometimes prefer to do this gait just because it's easier than the flat walk. Uh, and just to demonstrate that you can get the horse's head down and they can still pace, I get Trigger's head down and he still paces. As a matter of fact, he paces a little harder. So getting the head down is not a cure-all. It is a prerequisite to curing the pace, but it is not the only thing that you have to do. Here's Trigger, 14 days into training. As you can see, he's in a much better frame, but he's still not using his hindquarters the way that we would like for him to. He's still a little step pacey, but that's fine. Horse training is a progression, so he is better than he was, and that's all that we can ask of him for right now. He's still getting behind the bit from time to time, but he had a real problem with nosing out, so he's working in and out of the correct field. He's still trying to adjust. One thing that we've got to be vigilant about is that we don't keep him behind the bit. Sometimes horses get confused and get behind the bit a little too much, and that's fine as long as we don't keep him in that frame. As you can see in this steel, as opposed to the other one, Trigger's in a much rounder frame, his head is vertical, his back is round, and he's shaped up to where he can four-beat gait much better than before. You can see in this slow motion clip that he is four-beating a little better. He's not all out pacing, so there's the left hind, left front, right hind, right front, as opposed to the first slow motion clip I had where he was hitting the ground at the same time. Here's Trigger after 30 days of training. You can see he's much more relaxed, as the horses should be as they progress through their training. He's not getting behind the bit. He's four-beating much better, much smoother, driving from behind. He's not dropping his shoulder in the corners, which is a big contributor to pacing when they go around and try to drop the inside shoulder. They don't use their hindquarters as much, so he's lifting his shoulders, four-beating much better. Okay, you can see in this slow motion clip that he is forebeating much better. There is more separation to the feet. There's right hind, right front, left hind, left front. Pay attention to the muscles in his hindquarters. He is pushing and driving more right there. You can see that muscle really work. He's no longer throwing his weight from left to right, left to right. He's in a good frame, which is a prerequisite for getting the hindquarters to drive through. You must have the horse in the correct frame in order for them to use their hindquarters. So he's no longer getting behind the bit like he was 2 weeks earlier, and he's not perfect, but he is on his way to being a much better trail mount for his owners. Now let's take a look at some of the exercises that I use to help develop a nice four-beat gait. We have the dog walk. You see that I am moving a lot in the saddle. A good dog walk should be very uncomfortable for the rider, but there's nothing better for getting the horse timing and rhythm down than the dog walk. Stepping the hindquarters around. This helps develop the supporting muscle groups that will help him drive from behind and lose that pacey condition. Here's another hindquarter exercise in which I rock the horse's hindquarters from left to right, left to right. He's not perfect in this exercise in this short clip, but he's starting to get it. The side pass is another one of my favorite exercises that I use. Circles is another tool that I use, starting with large circles and then progressing down to smaller as the horse gets stronger and is able to hold a good bend in the correct gait. Now as I come around on this side, you will also see another exercise I like to use, which is picking the shoulder up. You see here Trigger is moving out of the circle, picking that shoulder up really nice. Here's the roll back. As I ride up to the wall at a 45-degree angle, I stop, rolling back over his hocks, which really helps the horse get up underneath himself and use himself correctly. So in 30 days, we went from a horse that travels in a hollow frame, nose out, pacing around and not driving, to a horse that goes around in a nice round frame, pushing from behind and four-beat gaiting. If he is continually ridden in this fashion, he will just get better and better as time goes on.